Guys, what is going on? Blossom's back. Welcome back to another episode of Top Drives and another episode of RQ10 to RQ100. Technically, now in this day and age, is more like RQ10 to RQ114, but RQ10 to 100 just rolls off the tongue a little bit better. So this month on the channel, I kind of have a vision for kind of the type of videos that I want to do. I'm going to make more informational videos this month. So I don't want to say Blossom choice. Maybe I'll get it out this month. Maybe. Okay, I don't want to get expectations too high, but definitely the focal point in this update, it should make more, informational videos. And one of those series of informational videos that I used to make is RQ100 or RQ10 to 100. We've covered a couple tracks in the past, including Ocean Beach Slalom and Hairpin Road and Tokyo Overpass and all that kind of stuff. And I would say that those videos still carry some weight to it, but for example, I think one of the first ever videos I made was, RQ10 to 100 best cars for Hairpin. Although it's still a pretty good video to look back towards, it's also 2 updates old. So, things might change, right? So, anyway, as of EGT, this is RQ10 to 100 for slalom, and we're going with the most basic variation of slalom there is, the most common variation of slalom there is. That means that it's a standing slalom, not a rolling slalom. It's asphalt and it's dry. So that's the track set that we're looking at today, and we're looking at the best car in each RQ for the slalom track set. Now, starting off with RQ10 is the Suzuki K-Works. Now, as always, I'll go through every single car, how you need to upgrade them, and the time that it provides. So, the Suzuki K-Works, you get this at 323, and it will complete the slalom in 31 seconds and 98 centiseconds, okay? So, 31, 98. And this is the best RQ10 available option for the slalom test. So, if you need an RQ10 for the slalom, then, well, that's your guy right there, Suzuki K-Works. Now, moving on to RQ11, we have the Mazda Laputa S Turbo. This has a time of 31.86, and you need it at 323. Now, moving to the best car for RQ12, this was a little bit of a shock, and that is the Abarth 750 record car. It doesn't handle very well, but it is the best car for the slalom at 323, which is a pretty rare upgrade to put it in. I already upgraded my Abarth 750 record car, and I went 332. Mainly because I wanted to utilize its MRA, which is decent for a common, and the top speed as well. But someone actually went 323, someone put in the slalom times, and surprise, surprise, it's the best slalom car for RQ12. But not RQ12 and below, because if you've watched this series before, just because you are the best car for the track set in your RQ doesn't mean that you're the best car in your RQ. I mean, it doesn't mean that you're the best car for the track set in your RQ and below, right? It just means that you're the best in RQ12. That's like saying, oh, if you are the best, painter in Germany, for example, that doesn't mean you're the best, painter in the world, for example. So again, for the 750 record car is the best RQ12, but with a time of 32:10, it's actually worse than the 2 cars that we talked about just before, the Suzuki K-Works and the Mazda Laputa. Now, moving on to RQ13, the best RQ13 is actually not the Pontiac Firebird, although it handles the most. That title goes to the Lotus Elite. The Lotus Elite definitely being elite, best way to upgrade it, 323, and it comes in with a time of 31.06 and remains being the best car for a couple of RQs. So 31.06, it is better than the best of 14, the TBR Grand Tourer at 323. This is a time of 31.40, and at RQ15, the best car possible is the Ford Mustang 1 at 323. It gives in a time of 31.59. So, although that the Mustang is the best for 15 and the Grand Tourer is the best for 14, that RQ13 Lotus Elite is still the better option for the slalom track set. Now, things are going to get shaken up a little bit with the Suzuki Cappuccino. This is the best car for RQ16 at 323. It comes in with a time of 30 seconds and 73 centiseconds. Moving on to RQ17 is the Morgan EV3. This is the best car for RQ17 slalom, but the Suzuki Cappuccino is still the better car to use. Now, moving on to RQ18 is the Honda Beat. Now, the Honda Beat at 323 comes in with a time of 30.58, and this is the best common for the slalom. It was the best common for the slalom, before EGT and before American Overdrive and before JPT, and it still is. This Honda Beat is withstanding the test of time. Now, moving on to RQ19, the best one is the Mazda Daimyo Mazda Speed at 323. It comes in with a time of 31.13. Remember, the Honda's time was 30.58. Now, moving on to the uncommon collection. Okay, I think I need to add like a little bit of standard in there maybe as well. So let us begin, shall we? So the best RQ20 for the slalom. Let's see if we can look for it right here. I forget what the, oh, yep, it's a tie. It's a tie. It's a tie between the Ginetta G31 and the G26. So these two are the best RQ20s for the slalom. It comes in with a time of 31.25 at a 323 upgrade pattern. Now, do bear in mind that the Honda Beat still will beat these two cars in a slalom. So the Honda Beat is still the better bargain. But if you can't use, you know, uncommons, if you can't use commons and you can only use uncommons and you can only use an RQ20, then the Ginetta G31 is the way to go. Now, a really interesting thing I've noticed, especially like with how the fact that the Pontiac Firebird didn't win, you know, for RQ13, I think a lot of people knew this already, but when it comes to slalom, although handling is really, really important, another thing that you need to take into account is how light the car actually is. And usually you will find out that it's always the lightest cars that will be the best on the slalom. Let's say you have two cars with like 100 handling. The one that's lighter is going to win. Even if the lighter car had 99 handling and the way heavier car had like 102 handling, my money is still on the lighter car with 99. So you got to take into account, you know, how heavy or how light a specific car is as well. One thing that really took me off guard was the Ginetta G31s were actually better than the Chevrolet XP, even though that the Chevrolet handles better, right? It has 2 more handling points, but also it's 200 kilograms heavier. So that's one thing to think about. Anyway, moving on, RQ21, we got a Suzuki. We have the Suzuki Also Works. At 323, it's a time of 30.40, and the Suzuki Also Works will remain the best car for a couple of RQ. So moving on to RQ22 is the Ford Zetec, I believe. The thing is, with the fact that I'm putting in standard tires is going to increase, you know, the amount of cars we look at exponentially, so I'm going to remove that. So yeah, with the Ford Fiesta Zetec, again, you know, the RQ21, the Suzuki Also Works is still the better option, even though the Fiesta is the best for 22. Moving on to RQ23. Now, this one came as a huge shock because it's not the Suzuki Kera that wins, right? So RQ23, where's RQ23? The best of RQ23, I can't find, oh, there it is, the Nissan Silvia J. So the Suzuki Kera doesn't win it, right? Even though it's super light, handles really well, but then again, you know, this is the performance tire boy that we are comparing it up against. 87 handling when you fully upgrade this, and this car has a time of 30.46 at 323. Now, moving on to RQ24, the best option is a Mazda. Yes, it's the Daimyo Racing. At 323, it comes in with a time of 30.50. Now, up to this point, the Suzuki Also Works is still the better car. So the Suzuki Also Works is a time of 30.40. This car has a time of 30.50. Now, moving on to RQ25, we've got a brand new winner, and this is going to be the winner all the way up to RQ29, and that's the Peugeot Asphalt. Again, I need to look for it. Oh wait, no, it's not here because it's slick tires. There you go. See, I need to remember how to filter these cars. Yeah, there you go, Peugeot Asphalt. So yeah, this is really, really strong. At 323, sub 30 seconds, 29.88 is the time. Moving on to RQ26, we have the Nissan 240 SX. There you go. Nissan 240 SX at 323. It's a time of 30.36. Now, moving on to RQ27, a car that I did not expect to be the best of RQ27, which makes me think that there are not a lot of good slalom cars within RQ27 alone. And the winner of RQ27 goes to the Alfa Romeo 33, 1.7 Cloverleaf Veloce, 323, coming in with a time of 30.25. It is very light, so that probably answers a lot of questions. Now, moving on to RQ28, it is a tie between the Lotus Eclat as well as the Dodge Conquest. They both at the same time at 323 of 30.30. Remember, up till this point, the RQ25 Peugeot Asphalt is still the better option. Now, moving on to RQ29, the best uncommon for the slalom and the best for many cars to come is the Mazda Roadster NRA. At 323, it comes in with a time of 29.60. Now, moving on to the rares, we're going to start off with the Mazda Eunice. We're going to see a lot of Mazdas, a lot of Ariels, a lot of Lotuses in today's video, right? So we're going to start off with the Mazda Eunice Roadster RS Limited right here. 323. Sorry, a little bit of a hiccup there. 29.65 is the time, which means that the RQ29 Mazda NRA is still the better option to use. Next up on RQ31, we have a Janetta, and I gotta say, you know, it's because these Janettas are just so freaking light, right? So here it is, the Janetta G32 coming in at 753 kilograms only at 323. That is a time of 29.85. So again, the Mazda NRA, the uncommon, is still a better option. Though things change, we've got a new PR right now, a new personal best, a new record. It's the Donkavort S7 coming in with a time of 29.35. The best tune for this, by the way, is 879. So not 323 like most of the ones that we've seen so far. It is 879. Now, moving on to probably, I believe this is the second most dominant car in terms of being a bargain, and that's the Renault Twizy F1. This is an RQ33, right? If you have it 323, it comes in at a time on the slalom of 28.33, and this will remain the best slalom option all the way up till RQ44. So this indeed right here is the best rare for the dry slalom, and it's going to be beating a lot of cars in the super rare rank as well. So yeah, the Twizy, I would say, is the second most dominant one here in terms of just being a bargain and hitting above its weight. The other car that probably has a bigger margin is going to be the BAC Mono. Anyway, moving on, RQ34 is up next, and that is the Mitsubishi HSR. So we'll go through all of these winners really quickly. They're more like honorable mentions because although they're the best within their RQ, they're all going to lose against a Twizy anyway. The best of RQ35, congratulations goes to the Lotus M100 Elan. Moving on to RQ36, the best option is a Janetta G40 Junior, which is the second best, rare on the slalom. It comes in at a time of 28.75, which is very impressive. RQ37, again, it makes me think that if this is the best RQ37 car for the slalom, there are not a lot of good options within this RQ range. There's a Porsche 550 Spider with 75 handling, for crying out loud. It is very light though, and that's probably why. 550 kilograms, right, half a ton. Moving on to RQ38, this one also kind of surprised me, so I'm kind of glad that I did this video. I thought that the Opel GT was going to be the best, but it's not. It's the Manta 400. The Manta 400 is better. This comes in at a time of 28.91. This is a time of 28.94 or 93, one or the other. It's very, very close. The Opel GT, 998 kilograms. The Opel Manta, 980 kilograms. So yes, this is the lighter car, so it is a better one as well. Now, moving on to RQ39, it's going to be a Fiat. It's the Fiat 1000 Abarth, and that should be right at the start, right? I think it's the first car that you see. Yep, there you go, the Fiat 1000 TC Berlina Corsa. So there you go. Now, moving on to Super Rares, the best RQ40 that you can use for the slalom. Again, Mazda MX-5 MPS. Remember, the Twizy is still the better car, even up to these ranks. A best of 41, the Mazda Roadster NRA. Best of 42 is going to be an Alpha, right? It's an Alpha Giulia. Let me look for it right here. Should be coming up right soon. Yep, a Romeo Giulia TZ. This comes in with a time of 29.03. Again, Twizy with a time of 28.33. And then the RQ43 winner is going to be another Mazda, the MX-5 2.0, which the Twizy still beats. The Twizy finally loses, and the crown goes to a new car in RQ44. Congratulations goes to the Janetta G40 Cup. At 323, this has a slalom time of 28.03. Finally a car that can dethrone the Twizy. Now, moving on to RQ45. We go to Lotus territory. Here's a Lotus Elise 1.6. At 323, it comes in with a time of 28.41, which means that the Twizy actually still beats this. Now, moving on to RQ46, the best option that you can use goes to another Mazda. A lot of Mazdas, a lot of Lotuses, as we know, is the RX-8 Spirit R. Handles very well, but it is relatively heavy, right? 1,350 kilograms, has a time of 28.81 at 323, which means, yes, it still loses to the Twizy, as well as that G40 Cup that we mentioned earlier. And then last but not least, RQ47 goes to another Lotus. It's a Lotus Elise Club Racer at 323, has a time of 28.08, so this also beats the Twizy, congratulations, but it still loses to the Janetta G40 Cup. And then last but not least, or actually penultimate, right? Not last but not least, but the penultimate car is the RQ48 Lotus Elise Sprint. And at 323, this is a time of sub 28, 27.93, and this is the best super rare for the dry slalom, okay? And of course, this is upgraded 323. Now, moving on, RQ49, the best of 49, which will still lose to that RQ48, is going to be the Renault Sport Clio Cup car at 323 as a time of 28:33, which means that it draws with the Twizy. Oh my goodness, that Twizy is something else, isn't it? Okay, now moving on to the ultra rare ranks. Let's get a move on right here. Ultra rare, we're gonna start RQ50 with the G40, Janetta G40 to be exact, 102 handling when you max it out. Has a time of 27.7 at 323. Moving on to RQ51 is the Renault Megane, 28.56, which means yes, the Twizy beats this at a time of 323. Then moving on to RQ52, we have a car that I just can't seem to unpack. This update has been in the game for over a year now. I've never unpacked this car, not even once. It's the MX-5 Cup at 323, comes in with a time of 27.91, so very impressive there because it is very, very lightweight, right? 933 kilograms. Now, moving on to RQ53 is the campaign Lotus Elise 135. So there you go, at a time of 28 seconds flat. So yeah, you definitely want to keep this car in the campaign, man, because it can be the Twizy on a slalom at 323. Now, moving on to RQ54, we've got something special. We've got something very, very special, and that is indeed the Ariel Atom 1. So there you go, Ariel Atom 1, incredibly light car, 456 kilograms only, and that number will go down when you fully upgrade it. At 323, it has a time of 27:35. This is the best ultra rare for the slalom. So remember that, no matter what, even a Zenith or a Maxi cannot beat the Ariel Atom 1. There are a few cars that get close, but none beat the Ariel Atom 1. So remember this is a time of 27:35, because later we'll see a car with 27:36. So close, yet so far. Okay, so every car that you see, beyond this is going to lose the Ariel Atom 1 until I say otherwise, okay? So we're going to start off the RQ55 winner. It's a really respectable car too, to be honest, and it's the Renault Desire. Here's a 56 winner. It's a Lotus Elise 111S. We just overshot the Desire, I guess. Where is that guy? Okay, Desire's right there. So Desire's the winner of 55, and then obviously the Lotus Elise is the winner of 56, both of which you need to upgrade at 323 to get the best out of them. Now, next up, here, this is 27:36. So this is 0.01 seconds off the Ariel Atom time, and it's a very impressive car that actually wins this one. It is indeed the Cadillac Era 4-wheel drive, and it's only 0.01 seconds off the title of best slalom ultra rare, right? The Cadillac, ridiculously light once again, 454 kilograms, very, very, very light. Now moving on to RQ58, pretty heavy, I think. It's the Hyundai i30, right? Yeah, very, very heavy. And yeah, the time isn't that great as well, 28:30. It just beats a Twizy, right? Then moving on to RQ59, the best option goes to Lotus. Surprise, surprise, it's the Lotus Exige S2 right there. Moving on to RQ60, it's a Caterham. It is the Caterham 310R. So I think I should be, it's the green, no, not the green boy, never mind, it's the red boy. Yeah, 7310R at 233. Yes, the 233 beats the 323 according to Top Drive's records at a time of 27:50. Then moving on, best 61 is the Fiat 030, right, at 323. It has a time of 28:11. And then at RQ62, the best option is the Lotus 340R, a car that was, once heavily feared. At 233, not 323, but at 233, the better option has a time of 27:43. And then moving on to RQ63. Ooh, do I have this filter with slicks? I do, because there's a slick tire car here. It's the Citroën C3. There you go. So best car for 63. And last but not least, the best car for RQ64, congratulations, goes to the Zenith. And that should be at the end. Yeah, the Zenith E10. This is a time of 27:36, which means that it ties with the Cadillac Era. And both these cars are 0.01 seconds off the Ariel Atom 1, which is the best ultra rare for the slalom category. Now, moving on to epics, we start off with one of the weirdest ones ever, actually. I actually need to do this. I need to add standard. Because the best 65 for the slalom, and I couldn't verify this myself because I don't have this fully upgraded at what is it? At 233. I have it at 323, but apparently this at 233 supposedly has a time of 27:45, which would make it the best 65 for slalom. I have mine at 3:23, and the time is 27:88, so pretty big difference there. But yeah, there you go. That's the best one. So anyway, that's the only standard. We can take that away now. That was a bit of an anomaly, wasn't it? Or maybe it wasn't an anomaly. I was genuinely surprised that, you know, that Caterham, Santa Tire Caterham, still beat like a Lotus Exige 265, but it does. Now, moving on to RQ66. Again, it's an Exige 260. So, let me look for it. Yep, Lotus Exige Cup 260. Again, 323 with a time of 27:38. Now, I'm going to try and reduce this even more. I think all the winners now are only exclusively low ground clearance. So that would probably make it a lot easier to scroll through. Moving on to RQ67, we have the Volvo 850 touring car. Oh, yes, and one thing I do want to note is the Ariel Atom is still the best car. So the Volvo 850 233 has a time of 27:70. The Ariel Atom has a time of 27:35. So up to this point, the Ariel Atom is still the ultra rare RQ54 Ariel Atom is still the best car. Now moving on to RQ68, we have an Acura. It's an Acura HSC. And where is it? Right here. The Acura HSC 99 handling max it out. 323 has a time of 27:78. Now, moving on to RQ69, the best option is the Caterham 420. There you go, the race car. This is a time at 233 of 27:23, and this is the first car to beat the Ariel Atom 1. So the Ariel Atom 1 beats everything up till the Caterham 7420, which is crazy. That's like RQ54 hitting all the way up to RQ69. Now, unfortunately, the reign of the Caterham 7420 doesn't last very long, because RQ70, another Caterham, takes its place. It's the 7 Evo edition with a time of 26:98. So now we're going into the sub 27s with a time of 26:98, upgraded to 233. Then the best of RQ71 is the Zenus E10, which still loses to the RQ70 Caterham. RQ72, the best car, goes to the Renault Laguna with a time of 27:28, which means that it still loses to the Caterham. And then 73, the winner goes to the Motorsport Elise. This one's a prize car. And this one right here, the 1999 Lotus Motorsport Elise at 233 has a time of 26:95, which also means that it still loses to the Caterham. Actually, no, it doesn't. And it does not lose to the Caterham. Actually, 26:95. The Caterham is 26:98. So this beats the Caterham. Okay, so there you go. Now moving on to RQ74 is another prize car. Is the Citroen C Elise. So where is it? I should be able to locate it. There it is. There you go. 323. 27:33 is the time. RQ75 goes to the Hayabusa with a time of 26:70, and then RQ76 is your best epic for the slalom track set. Nothing beats the best of RQ76, and that goes to the Caterham CSR with a time of 26:33 at 233. This is the best option to use. It will beat the best of 77, 78, and 79. So moving on to RQ77, the best option goes to a Donkervoort, the D8270, and then moving on to RQ78, it's another Caterham. It is the Caterham 7 420 Cup, which still loses to the CSR. Then last but not least, RQ79, the best option goes to another prize car, and that is indeed the Lotus 211 GT4 Supersport at 233. It has a time of 26:46, which is still shy of the Caterham's 26:33, which is the CSR's time of 26:33. Now, moving on, last but not least, legendary counts. Ooh, there we go. All cars. We start off with RQ80, and this is a very impressive time, actually. Ariel Atom 3 at 233 has a time of 25:96. So we're going sub 26 seconds now. There you go, Ariel Atom 3. Now, moving on, RQ81 is, that's the best. 27:06 is the time, so it's not that good. In fact, the Ariel Atom, the 211, all the epics that came before it beats the Aero 8 on the slalom with a time of 27. Now, moving on to 82, we've got a pretty big powerhouse over here, and I think a lot of you guys will know what's coming up. It's indeed the Caterham Superlight R500. Some of you guys might even have the slalom time of this car memorized because of how OP it was back in the day. 25:70 is the time to beat, right? And this remains the best car all the way up to RQ90. So the Superlight is really strong, and it will beat the best of 83 all the way up to 90. So we'll go through the rest really quickly. So RQ83, the best goes to another Aerial. It's the Aerial Atom 2 Supercharge at 233. 84, congratulations, are in order for a Radical. I think I overshot it already. Yep, there you go, the Radical SR3SL. Next up, 85 is another Aerial, and that is the Aerial Atom 3.5 Supercharged, 25.75 is the time. Then 86 is a Caterham 7620, which the Superlight still beats. RQ87, another Aerial that the Superlight still beats. And that is the Aerial Atom 4. And then moving on to RQ88, it's a prize car. It's a Janetta Akula. I should be able to look. Yep, there we go. Akula, there you go. Because this thing, you know, it stands out like a sore thumb, honestly. It's really ugly. Moving on to RQ89, McLaren F1 LM. Again, it's pretty heavy considering its competition. It is a time of 26.66. And of course, the Superlight still beats it. But what the Superlight doesn't beat is the best of RQ90. So here you go. This is your next king of the hill. It's the Radical SR3RS at 233. Comes in a time of 25.65, 0.05 seconds faster than the Superlight. Now, moving on to the best of 91 is another prize car. It is a Donkervoort. Where is it? Oh, RQ91. Where is the Donkervoort? Yes, Donkervoort GTO 40. Then moving on to RQ92, it is a Radical SR3 SXR, and this is, you know, very strong. 25.43 remains the best car up till 95. Moving on to 93 goes to an Aerial Atom once again. It's the Aerial Atom V8, I believe, which is a prize car, which should be coming up in 3, 2, 1. There you go. Yep. And then moving on to RQ94, Caterham RST Levante, which there you go. And it's a time of 25.43. Now, moving on to RQ95, and this remains I believe this is the second best. Yeah, this is the second best one in the game. The BAC Mono. So it's the second best slalom car in the game at RQ95. The best slalom car in the game is RQ107. So yeah, again, really, really strong, this one, the BAC Mono. This has a time of 25.21 when you upgrade it 233. Best of 26 goes to the Radical SR10, but remember the BAC Mono is the second best, so we'll beat everything that we see here until I tell you about the best one. 97 goes to that really, really like poor imaged Janetta G57. 98 goes to the Porsche RS Spider. 99 goes to the Peugeot 905B. Where is that Peugeot 905B? I can't find it. Where's the side? There it is, 905B. RQ100, congratulations, goes to the 908 HDI FAP. 101, the best one goes to the Alpha Coloni. Time of this, by the way, 25.76. RQ102 is the Devo, because there's only one of two options. This has a very bad time of 27.30. Don't worry about it. There's not like a lot. There are not a lot of options over here. RQ103 goes to the Hyundai PM580, which isn't here because it's all surface tires. But I'm not going to filter it out. I just can't be bothered. RQ104 goes to the R18 TDI Ultra. 25.26. RQ105 goes to the Zenvo because it's the only one. Because, you know, nobody has this yet. RQ106, congratulations, goes to the Suzuki XL7 Pikes Peak. Again, not image here because it's all surface tires. Fine, we'll put in the all surface tire cars. There we go. Okay, where's all surface tires? There you go. That's fully upgraded. I mean, that's not fully upgraded, but it's wish listed at 323. It's a time of 26.65. And then finally, the BAC beats everything up till the Audi R18. This is the best slalom car in the game right now at 233, and that's a time of 25.13. And that's because it's ridiculously light and it has an insane handling score. Moving on to RQ108, the best car is the IDR Pikes Peak at a time of 25.33. RQ109 goes to the 208 WRX, which is an all-surface tire car. And last but not least, it is the Pikes Peak at 111 at 233. This has a time of 25.21, which means that this is actually tied with the BAC Mono in terms of slalom time. But of course, the best car in the game goes to the Audi R18 on the slalom. So, oh man, there you go. That's the best car for every RQ for the slalom track set. So I'm gonna go all the way down to Ultra here because I think that's gonna be the most useful for most people. Honestly, the cars to remember: Aerial Atom 1, BAC Mono, Caterham CSR, right? The RQ76, yeah, this one, the Caterham CSR, and of course the Twizy. Those are your biggest bargains. Some really good options as well: Janetta G40, The G40 GT3 Super Air is also a great bargain. Yeah, the G40 Cup, not GT3, sorry. Lotus Elite Sprint is always great. But there you go. Those are the best slalom cars for each RQ in Top Drives. I hope you guys have a great day. Remember to stay safe, wash your hands, and Blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold tight all night, cruise to Jacksonville
Atlantic.
Blonde hair, don't care,